right, so would like to call to order the regular school board meeting of the Madison Central School District for Monday, September 14th. Mr. Brooks will record the members present or absent, and we do have a quorum, so we'll move on to item number 4, which is the Pledge of Allegiance. I invite all to stand and join. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you much. And then in terms of the agenda, we have one additional item that we're going to be adding, and I think we'll simply make that on our agenda as item 15A, which would be a discussion on the skid steer loader agreement that we have between Gale and Lake County International. So there would be that one additional item to the agenda, item 15A. Other than that, I think that's the only change we have to the agenda, so I would entertain a motion to accept the agenda.
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Moore. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Thompson. Further questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approval of the agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. On then to item number 6, which is approval of the consent agenda items 7 through 9. We have 2 sets of minutes, our August 10th meeting, which was our regular meeting, and then our August 31st meeting, which was our planning session. And it was it was Jenny who was originally on the list, and then Charlie who was on the list, and myself that went through the bills. Any questions, discussion that we have there? Mr. Moore, you got your questions answered?
Got my answer.
And everything, things look good there, all right. Then number 9 is personnel actions. Mr. Schaefer, are there things you want to discuss on the personnel? Or?
Well, on the request to hire, I think that's pretty self-explanatory. You'll note that a lot of them are the playground aides. And in the resignation area, we've lost 2 people, Kim Highland, the high school paraprofessional, and Kathleen Harwell, a special ed bus driver. And as you know, bus drivers are a commodity that we do not have a surplus in, and we are working hard to try to replace that position. And then congratulations to the Kristen Johnson, Darren Swenson, and Stephen Gores for moving on the pay scale. So with that, we recommend you approve those.
Okay, so we have recommendation for approval on item number 9, the personnel and the bills and the minutes. To entertain a motion that we approve our consent items. So moved by Mrs. Thompson. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Haig. Further questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approval of the consent items 7 through 9 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Declare that that is passed. Item number 10, hearing of delegations. Mrs. Moore, you're just here as an observer, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't see anything, so I'm not going to go through the phrasing of our visitation to the board. On to number 11, administrators report.
Okay, I'm going to cover a couple of things with you. First thing, I want to say at the end of the year last year and said that we had a national merit scholarship possibility, and that has come to fruition. One of our kids is actually a semi-finalist now, so he's one of 16,000 kids across the United States, so that's pretty amazing if you look at the big picture of things. So that went public on the 9th of September, and now he'll work down to be a finalist, and he's got a few more things that he's got to do. So we'll kind of keep you in the loop if he gets selected. So Mr. Schaefer asked me to come in tonight and talk a little bit about the alternative school setting we have going on. We talked briefly about it during the retreat, and I thought I'd give you a little more insight after we're into it a few weeks now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with some statistics that I used with our staff last year, and it should put some perspective into this. But Statistics tell us that high school dropouts experience considerable economic and social problems. More specifically, high school dropouts are 72% more likely to be unemployed and earn 27% less than those who graduate. Also, 82% of adult prison inmates are actually high school dropouts. And in 1993, now that's dated data, but still, 17% of youth under the age of 18 entering adult prisons had not completed grade school. So we have to look at the big picture of the investment of what this is and what we're actually trying to do. So what we did is we began that development, and we've pushed the pavement. We've gone to Mitchell and done some looking at how they operate theirs. And Mitchell actually used the old aim high concept many years ago to frame theirs. So it's kind of funny that it's come back around in a circle. So we went down and visited with them. We're going to go down and take a look at Harrisburg's. They've got one, but you know, we're gonna build it as we go. I think that's kind of the premise behind this. But actually, the kids developed the name of it, and they called it the New Horizons. And I thought, what a great name. It really kind of fits the bill here because it does provide them a new horizon. Okay. Obviously, alternative setting it's students who have shown to struggle with the traditional educational setting. They just can't quite get it figured out. And it doesn't mean that they're a discipline issue. They're just maybe unmotivated, can't handle all the workload at one time. Statistically, a lot of kids that struggle in English and math fall down this path pretty fast. So our focus now is taking them out of the broad 8-class spectrum and moving them down into a more manageable system for themselves. So what they do, we make them do math and English every day, and it's done more of an online teaching concept, and then they actually go out to a core class or an elective class each day, once a day. So they're either out into a core or out into an elective, something, whatever interests them. We try to find things that they are interested in to get them bought into something. So each one of them goes out twice a day. The time, they get here at 8:15 in the morning and they're here till 1:30 in the afternoon. And then at 1:30 they have a choice to go to class or they go to work. Because our job, I feel like our job with these kids is to make them understand how the world of work truly does, you know, impact them. And so at this point in the game, we have 3 students who have acquired jobs in the last 3 weeks, and they go out to work in some of the businesses in the community. And Mrs. Failer has really done a phenomenal job of paving that path for those kids. She calls them up and works them through the process, helps them go through the application, and we work it through in the school, and we do mock interview, and then we take them out. So we're trying to get them the soft skills to get them to understand how that process works, because a lot of them have no clue. They've never been to that situation. So we work on that. We do the interviewing, we do the soft skills, we talk about, you know, job applications. We're working on one of them right now, trying to get their driver's license because they don't live in town, so they've got to figure out how to get to work. So we're trying to work them through that driver's license, and then on Tuesday morning we'll run him down to the city building and we'll get him his driver's license. So we're working on that portion. So it's spending the time and buying into, you know, what they need. Okay? So like at this point, you know, we're 3 weeks into it. I have one student that is taking a geometry class, and he started it. He was in summer school, he did some summer work, but he didn't get very far. And I want to say he was maybe 15% done with his course, and since the start of school till now, he's 41.9% done with a semester of geometry in 3 weeks. So it's a matter of drawing the focus. I have another person that started at 0% day one and are at 24% done with their English, one semester of English. They also are all working on computer. I've got 3 of them doing computers. I have one in there that was also in summer school, started it, didn't do it, was at about 2%. When 2% complete, they're up to 39.6%. I have one that started at 0 and is at 61%. So the value is phenomenal. And I've got 3 of them that are actually in the process of redoing a computer class together. And they work on their own, but they've got themselves as resources, and they are actually where the class would be in about mid-October right now. And these are kids that have not amassed a whole lot of credits in their educational system. And we've gotten more work done in the first 3 weeks of school than they probably did the entire year last year. And it is amazing. And the other thing I wanted to share with you, and this, I'm going to finish with this, and this is a testament. This is an email I got from a parent, and I called her today to ask her to make sure I could use it in public, and she said absolutely. She just wanted to say, great job. For the first time ever, I heard my son say, I love school. He is super excited every day he comes home with a funny story about his day. I've never ever seen him like this, so from the bottom of my heart, thank you. So that's powerful. And that proves that, yes, it's a big investment, but yet it works. And I think I just wanted to share where we're at with that, because it is pretty powerful. So it's kids that maybe would have been the 82% that don't graduate, and can't find jobs. So hopefully we can make them productive in our society when they leave us and understand the value of education, and hope some of them actually go on maybe and become teachers down the road. So that's what I got for you.
What grade levels?
This is 9 through 12. Right now, it'll be repeaters, but 9 through 12. So
how many kids total?
right now, I think we have about 8 in there. And they say the ratio, you want to keep your ratio between about 10 to 12. You don't want it much more than that, because it'll change the dynamic of your room immediately. So we try to keep it really close-knit, tight group, but they're in and out, but it's pretty awesome.
It's a great program.
Yeah, and I encourage you to come up sometime. If you're out and about someday, you pop down and I'll walk you down there and you can kind of see the interaction and how it works. So, all right?
Yeah, nice work.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. Thank you for sharing.
You bet.
Good news.
Okay, a variety of things then from my point of view. I want to remind you of the upcoming MCSD region meetings. We will be hosting one here in Madison on October 1st. That'll be here before you know it. It's going to be held in the ProStart classroom. And the meal is 6 o'clock p.m. The meeting starts at 6:30 till 8:30. The meal will be prepared and served by the ProStart class. And so that gives them something to practice on.
Let Mitch know if you want to attend Thursday evening, October 1st.
Yeah, we have to have a head count.
And we need to be registered from here, and if we have more than 3 of us, we'll post it as a normal board meeting to get around the wonderful laws of employment.
So
Let's hope we have to post it.
let's give serious thought as to your presence at that event.
If not, there's-
Again, that's October 1st, a Thursday night.
Now, there's one in,
Is that the one you and I have?
yep, went down to Harrisburg. There's one the night before in
Well, I didn't know.
Millbank,
I mean, I can give them the whole 9
and
yards.
the 15th of October in Sioux Falls, so.
They start on the 29th September in Aberdeen, and they go to Millbank on the 30th, Madison on the 1st, 13th they're at Mobridge, 15th at Sioux Falls, Lincoln, 21st at Platte, 27th in Rapid City, 28th at Faith, and November 3rd, here.
6. Okay, yeah.
Charlie's in, Jenny's in, Tom's in.
Yep.
You got 3 for sure. All right, moving on then. Every year, the school board group puts on a school law seminar. This year, they're expanding it to an evening on the 6th, Tuesday night, I think it is. And then all day, pretty much all day on Wednesday. And so there's an added charge for the Tuesday night, $75 for the first registrant per district, and $50 for each additional. And then on Wednesdays, it's $115 for the first registrant and $90 for the additional. So the days are October 6th and 7th, Sioux Falls Ramcota Conference Center, Jefferson Room. Typically, we have, well, either I or Tom or both of us or others go. We have a little contingency that go down there. It's always good to keep up with what's going on. This year, they're gonna talk about topics like, well, the Tuesday night is exploring the dynamic relationships between board members and between the board and the superintendent. And a full-day Wednesday session covering transgender students and employees, Title IX, parent and public bullying of school employees, which is a whole different twist, and many other key school law issues. So it's always interesting, to say the least. And again, that'll be here before we know it, so if that's something that you'd like to participate in, make sure you let us know in advance. We have to get you registered 1 week in advance, so keep that in mind. Paula, King Reed, Director of Special Ed, would like you to be aware that October is National Disability Employment Awareness Month, and on October 9th, Jesse Saperstein will be speaking to the middle school, high school student body at 9 o'clock in the morning in the high school gym. Jesse has Asperger's syndrome and speaks about having autism and bullying. And this is sponsored by the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. We have been doing this presentation like this now for the last few years with the involvement of the Division of Rehabilitation. Very positive, a lot of very positive comments and interaction and experiences there. And it a lot of times moves our students to hear that. So keep that in mind. Also want to, and you're welcome to come on October 9th, 9 o'clock in the morning. Then we have another class, I guess you would call it, that's going on for those who need to it's for English language learners. And it takes place here at the high school on Tuesday and Thursday evenings and on Saturday mornings. And we have about 20. May have grown a little bit, I'm not sure, but I've heard some talk about the fact that about that many are involved in it. Our own teacher, Annalisa Brown, is involved with it, along with others. The Career Learning Center is also part of that. The idea is, you might say, to teach the non-English speaking adults, that's who this is for, is non-English speaking adults, to give them some basic skills of how to communicate effectively with the school district, and by doing that, they also teach them how to communicate with others. But one of the problems we have is we might have a phone number, and maybe nobody at the other end knows how to speak English. And probably very few on our end know how to speak their language. So we're trying to provide a course where the parent can call in and say, my child is sick. As simple as that, explaining why the child is not in school. As you know, we call the home every time the child is not in school, and sometimes the language can be a barrier. So a lot of excitement around this, very positive experience. A number of businesses are helping out with the adult who might be employed in the business as a way of trying to promote that learning of a basic language of English. So it would benefit them in the workplace as well. In one more item, I'd like to make sure that the board members are aware of, and that we express our appreciation to President Farrell, Tom, for his role on the Calaland Insider the other day. I thought it was very well done, and I think it's something very positive, not only for our district, but for the associated school boards as well. For all three individuals on there that night carried the torch high for the association and for the cause. So thank you, Thomas.
You're welcome.
As far as the bus garage go, I've had a couple of you ask me that question. I wish I could tell you we had moved and life was good, but it isn't quite that way. We have hopes that we'll get over there, and that it won't be too long. Matter of fact, I believe we've had made some arrangements to remove the old bus garage in early October. Hopefully that gets to happen. We did get hooked up with natural gas. I believe that was finalized today. That's a good thing. We still have an issue with the sewer and water, mostly the sewer side, and we hope that that is resolved in the next few days. That would probably be the biggest hurdle, would it not be, Mitchell? Yeah. Other than that, that's it as far as, I have one more. Blue Ribbon Task Force. I had the opportunity to speak with our local representative on there, DeLon Moore. DeLon is serving at the wishes of the governor there as a participant in that, and it was a great meeting. He is optimistic and he is hopeful, and they are digging deeper than any of the previous committees did, and so they provided, you might say, a fact sheet here. South Dakota Department of Ed data also noted that 249 positions were open at the start of the 14-15 school year, which resulted in more than 40 classes being cut from schools during the year in the state of South Dakota. So to me, that's really hurtful. That's hard when kids and school districts and families have something like not being able to hire a teacher and they lose the coursework. That's difficult. Another thing to keep in mind that the troubling trend of shrinking teacher pool is not exclusive to South Dakota, because that's true across the United States. And we're not unique. Representative Mark Mickelson said, what we pay is unique. So being short on teachers is not unique just to South Dakota, but it's unfortunately multiplied, I guess, because we pay, our pay is at the bottom. Shortage in South Dakota is closely tied to low pay, with the state ranking last in average teacher pay in the nation. So they are going to dig into it a little, probably a whole lot deeper in the next meeting in October as ways of maybe making suggestions to resolve the shortage on the money side. And with that, I guess we'll just hope that they can come out with some good, solid recommendations for the legislature.
Ben, anything you want to add on your reports you've given us?
Not unless you guys have any questions.
Ben's provided us with a written report of his short month
Yep.
on there. Any questions or anything on that? Again, we appreciate getting this, Ben. I think it shows where we're at and some of the things that we're dealing with on almost a daily basis. And the other one was Dr. Cook via Rhonda sent out a link for the middle school report that came out this morning. I think most of us probably had an opportunity to see that also. So anything else from the administrative side of the reports?
Okay. We're good.
All right.
Thank you.
Then, next, item number 12. Charlie.
Just what's the definition of student issues?
It's
What's that range from?
a broad, very broad deal.
Is it a behavior sometimes?
It could be behavior, it could be something that I helped deal with that turned out to be like school discipline issues.
Okay.
If I don't think it falls under anything, then I put it
Catch-all.
under student issues.
Okay.
Miscellaneous.
Yep, miscellaneous.
Other questions? Then, on to number 12, open enrollment applications. Mr. Schaefer?
I'll go through them. We have a number. We have one 11th grader coming in from Rutland. We have a 3rd grader coming in from Chester. We have a 5th grader coming in from Chester. We have a 7th grader coming in from Chester. We have a 9th grader coming in from Brookings. We have a 7th grader coming in from Ramona. And we have a 1st grader coming in from, well, this is interesting. The last district they attended was Del Rapids, but they have a Wentworth address. So I would say they're out of Chester district as well. 12th grader coming in out of Howard. A 1st grader coming in from Chester. 9th grader coming in from a Wentworth address, or would be Chester. And a 9th grader coming in from Coleman. So there are a number of open enrollments.
And recommendation administration is we accept those open enrollment applications.
Yep, those are the ones that have been in since last time we processed any.
Okay.
I would make a motion to approve those.
Mrs. Thompson moves we approve. Is there a second? Second? Oh, Mrs. Sims, a little slow down there, guys. All right, Mrs. Sims has the second. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approval of open enrollment applications 16-7 through 16-17, indicate by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Declared motion is passed. Number 13, Mr. Brooks, Health Insurance Committee recommendations.
The Health Insurance Committee met, had some good discussion. We've kind of had a more difficult year as far as claims go. But after kind of our discussion and going through reports with our representative from Wellmark, the committee kind of set, or proposed to set new rates. This is the rates that, as they changed, what they did was the school contribution for health insurance is $410. And so they moved that to $410. It was a $10 increase. Was it $5 increase? $5 increase. Yeah. And then the rest of the plans, they moved these plans up 4%, the B plans up 6%, and then the A plans up 8%. The recommendation from Wellmark was to move all plans at least 8%, but this is not a typical year for us. So if we kind of go back to our normal typical year, we should be able to regain on that. If we don't, we'll probably see larger increases into the next year. For that. And then the dental side of it, I always just kind of keep that with. When we had this, with healthcare reform, we had to pull the dental out, put that separate. That was a 2-year agreement that stayed exactly the same as the year before.
So it's a recommendation of the Health Insurance Committee to approve those changes in the rates. Probably the most significant changes we've had in at least probably 5 years.
Yeah.
In terms of our health insurance, and what we've been able to do has been very, very unlike what's happened in the rest of the marketplace. We've been very, very fortunate up to this point in time. So, the recommendation is that the board would approve those. I would entertain a motion that we do that. So moved by Mrs. Sims, and that was a second by Mr. Nelson. I saw that, okay? Further questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of accepting the Health Insurance Committee's recommendation on the rate increase, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Mr. Brooks, you are on a roll.
Yeah. And this agreement, it comes out actually in March of each year. We have like 4 hours to accept or not accept, and then they send them out each month. On the month, this was the second one to come out for that month. And we accepted it. The rate shows the 43.9 cents, or the per therm. Our last year's rate was 52. Potential go down, could go down a little bit, but the potential go up is always a little bit higher. So I thought that was a good lock-in point. So what that does is it locks us in through the winter months. I believe it starts November and goes through March. We're very similar to that on that, but we bring it to the board each year about this time, kind of, so you're aware of what we have for our winter months. So it's been as high as $1.50 just 6 years ago. So it's been steadily going down, which is a nice sign. But we got another favorable agreement, so we locked it in for this year.
So the recommendation is that we approve the national natural gas rate 86 contract. Is there a motion to that effect? So moved by Mrs. Thompson. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Moore. Further questions or discussion? Thank you, Mr. Brooks, for your work on that. Very good rate as we compare to last year. All in favor of the motion then, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Declare the motion is passed. Item number 15, the official ballot. Mr. Schaefer, do you want to give us your schooling on this one?
Well, there's only one candidate, so it's pretty hard to argue with anybody here.
Not a lot of discussion.
But the reason and I asked this question too, just probably as you were asking, well, why is this coming to us? The short of the story is this is that new position for the large schools only. And I think there's language written in there that anybody that gets to serve has to have a majority rule or a majority vote. And, so if everybody decides not to vote, essentially the person has a chance of nobody filling the position. So I would recommend that we do vote for Dr. Brian Maher of Sioux Falls School District as the member for this position. Did we send this out? Have you seen his?
There's a link.
Okay,
It's a-
all right,
yeah.
very good. And it's kind of an interesting read. Now, I've met this gentleman, and he's one of us. I mean, we can relate to him pretty well. So I would encourage you to vote for Dr. Brian Maher, Sioux Falls School District, and we'll put this rascal in the mail, and he'll be a Division I representative if other schools do their job.
Need a motion?
So moved.
Yep, so moved by Mrs. Thompson, second. Mr. Nelson, further questions or discussion? All in favor of casting a ballot for Dr. Brian Maher for the Division I position signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Declare that motion is passed. Item 15A, Mr. Brooks, bring us the good news.
You probably remember this from the past, about each year, when our skid steer reaches about 100 hours, the county has always approached us and they're willing to trade it in for the new year model. This year it's a little bit different. They've always done in the past at no cost. This year the model, I believe, we had 6 years with that previous model. Now they're to a different model. And it's quite a bit different on the emissions and the way the motor runs. So with this year there was a cost to it. I believe we went, was it 13 years in a row with no increase. So the original skid steer that we purchased, we're guessing around 19,000.
19 to 20.
The one we're trading in is, I'm trading about 29,000 on that. So in essence, we do have to pay $6,900 to get to our next level, and then we'll be able to continue on into the future years with having our normal agreement on that. But it's been a very great thing for us. We've had no maintenance to do on our skid steers because each year we run to about the 100 hours or just the routine basic stuff, and then into a new machine that works with our bucket and our broom and everything. Forklift and.
Move to approve.
Moved by Mr. Nelson to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Moore. Further questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the approval of the purchase of the skid steer contract signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Declare the motion is passed. Only item we have left remaining is to go into executive session, and I'm hopeful that'll be a very short session, and we're to take no action would be my idea coming out of that. So thank you for attending, those who attended. Mr. Morgan, any questions for us?
No, I'm just processing it all.
Okay.